and beloved disciple of Devarishi Narad. All glories to the young coward maidens of Braj.
All glories to Gopeshwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhumanga.
All glories to Rama Gata, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavan.
All glories to Ramagat, where Lord Balaram performed his... Oh, sorry, that's not the one you just read, isn't it? Is that the one you just read?
Next one, 8, yeah.
All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmins. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda.
All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyama. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all of Lord Krishna's pastimes.
All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Braja by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine Parakiya Bhava, Paramore love. Wow.
Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly Krishna Das sings the Sankirtan of the holy name.
Jai. Jai. Sri Krishna's Kaviraj, Goswami Maharaj, Ki Jai. Okay. This is difficult. I can do that. Man manasa madhukara mapaya nija pada pankaja yadapi samadhishu viru api pasyati natava naka gamarichi. I can't get it. Can you get it? Sachi? Oh, Sachi. Wait, repeat Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande after each couplet. Okay, yeah, cool.
2 to 6. Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande.
Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Yes. Man manasa madhukara mapayan japada pankaja makarande. Yada bindramidhi virapi pasyati natava naka gamarichi. Chami Nichamya Savata Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Yadapi Madhava Natvai Mamatila Matri. Parameswarata Tadapitavadika Bhagata Gatana Vidhati. Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Advaita Dutta Rasa Bharam. Nivasati Nityam Amritanim Dhiri Vindhi Madhurima Saram. Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande. Jai Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande Ki Jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. So Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, the servant of Lalita. I mean, how can we imagine this on this kind of day that we have access to the, you know, the writings and the actual, like, you know, heart transmission of Srila Rupa Goswami. You know, what he's feeling in terms of his service in Vrindavan and, you know, his position in existence. It's like we have a chance to feel that and to sing that and to try to, you know, let it come into our hearts so it will purify us. You know, these songs are, you know, unusual. A lot, we don't sing them a lot. This particular one, I know in Salt Lake City we do sing it regularly, maybe at least once a month, because it's kind of borderline as far as it's high. But it's not, you know, there's not a lot about Srimati Radharani. So it's, you know, it's somewhat acceptable. Mm-hmm. But, you know, to vibrate this sound vibration particularly on a day like this, it like compounds the auspiciousness. Mm-hmm. We're singing an auspicious song on an auspicious day. And if we can make our hearts, try to make our hearts auspicious, you know, what a auspicious combination. You know, what can I say? We have a great chance today, because, you know, on holy days like this, it's like the. I remember reading in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, I think, that on holy days the time the transcendental existence time intersects with material time. And we have a chance to, like, enter into, it's like a door opening up or something like that. Like it said also that on holy days in the Dhams, the material world intersects with the spiritual world, and the Dhams become like filled with transcendental energy. So, you know, this is like a place of holiness by the grace of Srila Gurudev. So, you know, on top of all this other auspiciousness, we have the fortune to be in this place on such a day. So anyway, I'm just rambling on. So, Hey Deva Bhavantam Vande Sri Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. O Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. May you place the bumblebee of my mind in the honey of your lotus feet.
Although Brahma in his samadhi cannot obtain a glimpse of even a ray of the tips of the nails of your feet, still, O Achyutya, having heard the waves of your astonishing mercy, I yearn to see you.
Yeah. O Madhava, although I have not even a sesame seed of the devotion for you, your supreme power can make even the impossible become possible.
O eternal Lord, may the bumblebee of my mind, finding there the most wonderful sweetness, eternally stay in the honey of your lotus feet, which rebuke the sweetest nectar. So he's saying that the lotus feet of Krishna, in being allowed to be at his feet, he experiences something that's beyond any kind of imaginable experience that we can, you know, think of or imagine. It rebukes. That means it like rejects, overwhelms the sweetest of the nectar. And Rupa Goswami is thinking like that. That you know, within the range of pure devotion, those devotees have you know, desire for service. They want to serve, and based on that service, they taste the experience of you know, reality, the nectar of devotion. So Rupa Goswami is looking for that. He's like, not like us, he's crossed over the boundary into the land of Goloka, where he's desiring only service. Whereas for us, if we think, oh, I want the bliss, that's, you know, that's mundane personal motivation. But ultimately, Srila Rupa Goswami, in his condition of pure devotion, he wants that, and it's connected with his service. So he's saying, I don't have a sesame seed of devotion, I have very little devotion, but I've heard of you. I know what, Jai Gurudev, I know what the power of your lotus feet is. So let's just do, where's Shachi? Oh, there she is. Well, did she say she's coming back?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to do this Jugal Arti. What do you think? Let's see if she can do that. Jaya Jaya Radha Krishna Jugala Milan.
We just did it.
Arati Koraya Lalitari Sakki Gan.
All right, we did it.
We did?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, heck. Okay. So, you want to just do Jaya Radha Madhava?
Yes.
Okay. Page 227.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari
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 Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Namunatira Vanachari Namunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya
Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Gaura Tira Vanachari Gaura Tira
Jai. Jai. Balaram ki jai. Balaram das.
Okay, so I'd like to, we're reading from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, his talk about Srimati Radharani. We've read about 2/3 this morning, and it's very powerful. It's filled with deep revelation of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And this this kind of stuff is really, it's just inaccessible. It's not things that are ordinarily available. He's put into words, beautiful words, the energy and the experience of Krishna and Radha. It's just, it's amazing. And it's right there for us, but we have to open our hearts and think in terms of service and not in terms of acquisition. And, just try to absorb this as best we can, and we'll get his blessings, because the Guru is the representative of Srimati Radharani. The Guru knows. So I forget exactly where. I'll just start at the top of the page. Then there's another stage for which we should be prepared. Why should we try to enter into the camp of Radharani? We should think that there, in that better atmosphere, I shall have Krishna's presence more confidentially. Should we think I will have contact with Krishna very intimately? Should we want to enter into that camp? No. We want to avoid the connection of Krishna, but concentrate on the service of Radharani. Why? What more benefit is possible there in the service of Radharani? If we approach Krishna directly to give service to him, we shall be losers. Radharani's service to Krishna is of the highest order in every way. If we devote our energy to help Srimati Radharani, our energy will be utilized in her service. In this way, she will serve Krishna with her service more enhanced. Then the reciprocation will pass to us through her as our reward. That will be devotion of the highest type, Mahabhava. So the general inclination of the Sakhis, the confidential maidservants of Radharani, is not to come in direct connection with Krishna. They avoid that. But still, it is the benevolent and generous nature of Radharani to connect them with Krishna on some plea at the same time or other. At some time or other. But their innate nature is always to avoid Krishna and concentrate on the service of Radharani. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 8th chapter, verse 209. So in the 8th chapter, that's the talk of Ramananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Ramananda Samvad. And, Ramananda is coaxed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go through all the various stages of devotional service, and finally ends with the, Parakiya Madhurya Rasa, and begins to, talk about that and how it actually works. So, Radhara Swarupa Krishna Prema Kalpalata Sakigana Hoya Tora Palava Pushpa Pata. By nature, Srimati Radharani is just like a creeper of love of Godhead. And the gopis are the twigs, flowers, and leaves of that creeper. Eternally, the twigs, flowers, and leaves sprout from the creeper of Srimati Radharani. She is the trunk and they are the branches. This is the relationship. Yet still there is another higher thing. We are known as Rupanugas, or the followers of Sri Rupa. Why? The service of Srimati Radharani eliminates everything, even Narayan, to go to Krishna. Eliminates everything, even Narayan, to go to Krishna. There is the Krishna of Dwarka, the Krishna of Mathura, the Krishna of Vrindavan. Then again in Vrindavan, where there is free mixing without hesitation in other camps, Radharani's camp is the highest. Eliminating all other camps, direct service to Radharani is considered to be the highest. Still, there is another point. Who is Rupa? Rupa Manjari. Generally, the hierarchy in the spiritual world is eternal. New recruits can occupy a particular rank of Manjari assistant. In Madhura Rasa, the Manjari camp, which is not found among the Sakhis, girlfriend, what is that? What is the special feature in the Manjari camp which is not found among the Sakhis, girlfriends of Krishna? First there's Radharani, then the camp of her right-hand personal attendant, Lalita. Then under Lalita, there is Sri Rupa Manjari. What is the unique position of the followers of Sri Rupa? The new recruits can attain to that status. Now, the privilege of this Manjari class, we are to conceive most respectfully and attentively. So the privilege of the Manjari class, those people who are serving the Sakhis, and who in turn directly serve Srimati Radharani. So there's, things are going on in a transcendental way. There's Lalita and Vishaka, and there's then the 8 principal gopis, and then there's 108 principal gopis, and simultaneously we heard this morning, there's billions of gopis who are involved in this, literally billions. Because if you think about it, like look at the living entities on this planet. There's like, what, 9 billion people. What to speak of all the animals and everything else. It's just mind-boggling. So there's like multi-billions and trillions of gopis. And they're all engaged in the service, in the position of manjaris. Some are in the position of Sakhis, I guess. I don't know how that works exactly. We'll see what Guru Maharaj says. So who is Rupa? Rupa Manjari. Generally, the hierarchy in the spiritual world is eternal. New recruits can occupy a particular rank of Manjari assistant in Madhura Rasa. And the leader of the Manjaris is Sri Rupa Manjari. What is the special feature of the Manjari camp, which is not found among the Sakhis, girlfriends of Krishna? First there is Radharani, then the camp of her right-hand personal attendant, Lalita. Then under Lalita, there is Sri Rupa Manjari. What is the unique position of the followers of Sri Rupa? The new recruits can attain to that status. Now, the privilege of this Manjari class, we are to conceive most respectfully and attentively. I think I already read this. Okay. When Radha and Govinda are in secrecy in a private place, the Sakhis, who are well versed in the art of that kind of play, because they are a little grown up, do not like to approach there to disturb their confidential mixing. If the more grown-up Sakhis enter there, both Radha and Govinda will feel shy, so their presence may create some disturbance. But the younger girls can enter there, and then Radha and Govinda have no hesitation in free mixing. So in the highest stage of the mixing of Radha Govinda, the free play of Radha Govinda, these Manjaris, the younger girls, can have admission. But the grown-up Sakhis cannot have admission. New recruits may come up to the Manjari class, and the Manjaris have that sort of special advantage under the leadership of Sri Rupa Manjari. So they get the best advantage there. The most sacred type of pure service, which is not open even to the Sakhis, is open to the Manjaris. So Srila Guru Maharaj is talking a very, high-level thing. And we can't even imagine Radha and Govinda are playing in the highest, exchange of love. We have our exchanges of love in this world, and we have some conception of what that is, but the problem is in this world it's all like personally motivated. So it's mixed, and it's all, there's shadows over everything. But in the transcendental world, everything is perfect. So Radha and Krishna are freely mixing, somehow or other, coming together in paramourship, union. And the manjaris, because they're young, you know, they don't really know what's going on, so they can go in there and serve. Whereas the Sakhis, who are older, they can't go. This is, you know, high stuff. But Guru Maharaj is giving it to us on this, you know, appearance day of Srimati Radharani. So we have the good fortune to hear it. I mean, otherwise, really, this kind of stuff isn't accessible, because, you know, the natural tendency is to bring this down to the mundane level, because that's all we can conceive of. So anyway, we have to realize that this is way beyond our comprehension, and that the stage at which we begin to comprehend it is anartha nivritti. This is what is given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada and Srila Govinda Maharaj, down the line to Srila Acharya Maharaj and the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda. This is what they're giving, is, you know, the idea of the high thing, but at the same time some realization of our low position and the necessity of keeping a distance. Okay, so we'll continue. So the new recruits may come up to the Manjari class, and the Manjaris have that sort of special advantage under the leadership of Sri Rupa Manjari. So they get the best advantage there. The most sacred type of pure service, which is not open even to the Sakhis, is open to the Manjaris. This is found in Radharani's camp. So the position of the Rupanugas, the followers of Sri Rupa, is the most profitable position. That has been given out by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That has been shown by him, and that is fixed as the highest limit of our fortune in Krishna's concern. This is unexpectable, undesignable, and beyond hope. But our prospect lies there, in that subtle camp of Sri Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami. So imagine, there's a place in Vrindavan, out by Barshana, in an open field, where it was the place, the bhajan kutir of Rupa Goswami. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj renovated that whole place. And, you know, it's a bit run down now. There's one old guy staying there. And I got to go there many years ago in the 80s. And, you know, it's just an amazing place. The feeling is, you know, unmistakable, the presence of some kind of unbelievable soul. And then in his, you know, samadhi is right there, you know, within, I don't know, 10 meters of our mat. It's just unbelievable fortune that we have any kind of connection with this. But the fact is we do. And this is somehow or other the grace of our gurus, who are, you know, conveying this to us by their open hearts and by the will and instruction of their gurus. So we have so much indebtedness to Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj, our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and their guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, going up through Bhaktivinoda Thakur and others. We have so much indebtedness because they've, you know, indebtedness, I guess, is a bad word, because it comes to terms with some kind of negotiation. But anyway, we feel some feeling of a necessity for serving reciprocation. Okay. Now, we have to conduct ourselves in such a way that naturally we can connect with the highest, purest spiritual conception from here. We must not allow ourselves to be satisfied with anything less than this highest ideal. That should be the highest goal of our life, and we must adjust our approach from our present position. Spiritual inheritance. We are minors. Our Father has left us with so many important documents about the properties we are to inherit. As minors, we should try to find out what properties belong to us in those documents. When we come of age, we shall take possession of our rightful inheritance. The Rupanuga Shastra, the scriptures of spontaneous devotional love, has been given to us, left to us by our guru, our guardian, our father. And as we grow more and more in the spiritual line, we will have to detect what is our prospect, what is our real wealth. We must recover that. We must have that. It is there in the document. It is ours. This is our position. We are minors, but we must become majors and demand the service meant for us by our guardians. Devotee, we are putting our claim with you. We think that in the absence of our father, the court has appointed a guardian in order to keep us out of mischief and also to regulate our inheritance. This is a devotee, Srila Prabhupada, saying to Srila Guru Maharaj that you're going to take care of us. And this is what, you know, when Srila Prabhupada first disappeared, Satsvarupa Maharaj traveled around to all the temples and reassured us that we have the guidance of a great pure devotee, Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And they consulted with him, and then finally there was a disagreement. We all know the history. But at any rate, here this person is still considering, you're going to protect us, you're going to help us. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, this is not mine. This is the property of my Gurudev. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada gave you a clue. He has distributed the key widely and given a clue. With the key, come and open the iron chest and find out what valuable ornaments and gems are within the chest. Of course, no one will understand us when we say such things. Who will come to appreciate? They'll say, oh, this is all a product of a disorganized brain. These people are trying to take electricity from the sky, leaving aside this concrete earth. They are like the chatak bird. Rupa Goswami says there's a class of bird known as the chatak who never take a drop of water from the earth. Their nature is that whenever they want a drop of water, they always cast their eyes to the clouds. One drop of pure water, that is their cry. And so they wait with their beaks towards the sky, towards the clouds. And they never use any water from the earth. So our line is like that. The spirit of the bird is described in the following way by Rupa Goswami. This is a complicated Sanskrit prayer, which I'll try to recite. Virachaya mayagam dam dinabandho dayam va gatir iha navavata kachid anya mamasti napatatu satakotir nirbharam va navam babas tad api kila payoda stuyate chatakena. You may punish me, O cloud, you may punish me. If a thunderbolt comes, I'll be nowhere. You can throw down thunder, or you can give me water. But how much can I drink with a small beak? A flood of rain may come, O Lord of the poor, Lord of the helpless. You can give me a drop of your devotion, or you may punish me like anything. So this is the metaphor that's given. He's always praying for water. The cloud may satisfy him immediately, or by sending a thunderbolt, it may finish him and efface him from the earth. The bird has no other alternative by nature. So he says, my position is also like that bird. Oh Krishna, you may finish me, destroy me, efface me from the world, or you may save me by only a drop of your grace. I won't search after my satisfaction in the mud. That is finished. I will never go back to search my fortune in the earth, in the mundane. I am already fixed to do or die. Either I must receive a drop of your grace, or you may finish me. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami prays that Krishna's mercy will descend like a rain cloud, like rain from the clouds, and not only quench his thirst, but bathe him, satisfy his utmost hankering, and fulfill his innermost necessity. We should never search for our fortune in the mud. We must always look to the high sky and pray for Sri Guru and his grace. So that's the end of Srila Sridhar Maharaj describing the position and the beauty of Srimati Radharani as the source of all life feeling, of all love, of all reciprocal exchange. The perfection of existence is there in Srimati Radharani, and we can fulfill that need that we all have within to find reciprocation and connection. We can fulfill that in exchange with the servants of Srimati Radharani. This is our option. This is our chance. So I'd just like to read something by Srila Govinda Maharaj, if I can find it. Okay. You guys okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. So this is entitled My Old Friend, Jai. Okay. Radharani's paramour love. So, in the transcendental existence, there's Srimati Radharani, who's the divine female perfection, who exchanges with Krishna, who's the divine male perfection. And all around are those who are engaged in different activities to serve that exchange. And it's like mind-blowing. It's a chinti. We can't conceive of it because there's unlimited living entities involved in that. Yet everyone is feeling a direct connection. Somehow or other, everyone is connected with one of the 8 gopis through Rupa Manjari. Not directly to Srimati Radharani, but there is connection, there is reality. And how that can possibly be, we can't conceive. But it's said that it's possible, it's there. How can one conceive of something like that? But it is like that. There's a transcendental realm of which this place is just a reflection. Okay, so Srila Govinda Maharaj describes the glory of Madhura Rasa in Vrindavan. Madhura Rasa is that loving exchange between Krishna and Radha. The feeling, the rasa, the taste that ultimately all living entities are seeking after, is there in culmination in the loving exchange between Radha and Krishna. So today is the appearance day of Srimati Radharani, who manifested as the daughter of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. I recall a verse I learned when I started studying poetry as a boy. Vad artav ivasam prato vad arta pratipataye jagata pitaro bande parvati parameshvaran. Raghuvamsa by Kalidas. So Kalidas was a great poet and composer of plays. And he's known actually throughout the world. So this is his poetry. To understand speech and its meaning, I worship the Supreme Lord and his consort, the parents of the world, who are united like speech and its meaning. So he's conveying that, there's a very subtle, deep connection. Just like in this world, we're in a physical world. That's the outside, the senses. But yet, we have an inner world that's connected ultimately with our soul. It's transformed through the selfish ego. And the mind is there and the intelligence is there. But we can feel, the higher presence of the inner existence. So Kalidas is saying, like speech and its meaning, they're irrevocably connected. A speech and meaning are united, so Radha and Krishna are united. One cannot be separated from the other. Why? Shakti, Shaktimatayor, Abhedaha. Power and the powerful are inseparable. This teaching is seen throughout the Vedanta Darshan and the Upanishads. These are different scriptures from India that are very ancient, that describe the nature of the Absolute. Sometimes in very metaphorical ways which are difficult to find out. It's like, depending on the consciousness of the reader, there's different messages there. It's quite, it's quite mystical that one particular book can mean so many different things to so many different individuals, and yet that's what's intended. So you read Bhagavad Gita, and people will come out with different understandings in so many places, even though Krishna is very clear in there that it is He who is the object of all of our inner affection. Anyway, they can come up with karma, work. There's one school that says work is everything, just do your karma and that's existence. And another school says just study Gyan, understand Gyan, the knowledge of how the world is working and the subtleties. And once you get that fully, you'll just melt into the totality of existence. So they look towards that kind of, more or less, our gurus call it spiritual suicide. They want to just lose their individuality, when in fact, individuality is the key for perceiving, reciprocal love, which is the essence of existence that is contained there in Radha and Krishna. A speech and meaning are united, so Radha and Krishna are united. One cannot be separated from the other. Why? Shakti Shaktiman Abhedaha. Power and the powerful are inseparable. This teaching is seen throughout the Vedanta Darshan and the Upanishads. The fundamental nature of the Lord is that He is Shashakti Shaktiman, the all-powerful with His power. The word Bhagavan, the possessor of power, colloquial God, is spoken when the Lord's power cannot be separated from Him. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a great saint who, at the beginning of the entry of the modern age in India, you know about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You're right. The more you know, the less you know, right? Yeah. So anyway, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a great soul, and he gave much revelation and access by his grace. When we read what he spoke, again, it's like reaching out to you. It's living, and depending on the degree to which you open your heart and give yourself, that knowledge enters in. It's a whole mystical transaction that happens in relation to the soul awakening and realizing this is just a glove. I'm inside of a glove, but I'm the hand. That's me. And to realize that is to become free. And that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing about. That kind of feeling and that experience of what freedom is, and what is the plane of that existence. Virajara pare shuddha paravyoma dhamma tad upari shri gokula brindavaranya nama. Beyond Viraja, the river that divides the material and spiritual worlds, is Paravyoma Dham, the spiritual sky. And beyond that is Sri Goloka Vrindavan, Lord Krishna's eternal residence. We are residing in a Brahmanda, that is a universe made up of 14 worlds, 7 lower planes and 7 upper planes, known as Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Maha, Jana, Tapa, and Satya. These are the upper planes. And we're in Bhu, which is the first level of the upper planes. Below us is the lower planes, which I forget the name. Do you know the names? Do you remember the names of lower planes? Okay. Anyway, There's 7 lower planes that people who basically harm other people or other living entities, they go to those planes and get back exactly what they did. You know, that's the law of karma is actually the presence of Krishna. You know, we can't really escape the fact that we're under his control and that we are servants. And in spite of how you know, our effort to break away from that, you know, ultimately we're all under his control, and that's manifest in karma itself, and in, you know, ultimately in death. You know, we accumulate things, we do so many things, we get this, we go here, we do that, and you know, then it ends. And you know, the intelligent thing is like, okay, I know it's going to end, so where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Is there a way to perceive, you know, what's next? Where I'm going to go? What's going to happen? And you know, these saints from the past and the scriptures say, yeah, you can access it. It's possible. All you have to do is, you know, open your heart and understand your position as, you know, eternally a servant. As, you know, Bob Dylan says, you got to serve somebody. You know that song? Anyway, the Grateful Dead sang that also. Yeah, everybody serves, if you think about it. And why is that? Because it's part of it's just our nature. That's who we are. That's what we have to do. So, you know, what's behind that? You know, behind that is the soul. And the nature of the soul is to serve fully, without any kind of personal motivation. That's why, like, people in this plane, in this world, you know, have some sense of that. They look up to people who, you know, give their lives and devote their energies to something higher than them. You know, everyone's esteemed. Mother Teresa and, you know, Martin Luther King and so many people throughout time have been revered because of their, you know, self-sacrifice. And that's natural. Self-sacrifice is the real thing. And ultimately, we sacrifice to the source of our existence. So innumerable such Brahmandas float in the waters of the Viraja river. So there's innumerable universes. You know, what are the scientists saying now? There's billions of galaxies, right? How do you figure that? It's, you know, it's just really beyond our comprehension. And the idea is, when you look at infinity, you begin to think, how is it possible that I'm ever going to comprehend that? Is there possibly another way through which I can, you know, understand what is infinity? Can the finite ever know the infinite? And, you know, the answer given directly by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the second on the left, is that, you know, if the infinite does not have the capacity to reveal him or herself to the finite, it can't be infinite. So, you know, it's possible. We can understand and perceive that which is way beyond us to ever know. But we can feel it and enter into it. That's the possibility. So, okay, beyond the Viraja river, the highest plane within the spiritual Paravyoma Dham is Sri Goloka Vrindavan. So beyond this material place, there's a transcendental place filled with so many different planes of consciousness, and depending on, they're called planets, and then depending on the you know, the consciousness, the nature of the inclination to serve, there's a reciprocal arrangement set up. And there's master-servant relations, and there's relations of just neutrality, like being a tree, or, you know, being grass. One of the great devotees, who Krishna says is my best devotee, Uddhava, he says, let me just be a blade of grass in that place so that these gopis, these ladies who serve Radha and Krishna in their transcendental reciprocal exchange, let me be a blade of grass so they can walk on me. The guy actually wants that kind of position. His consciousness is so developed that he realizes that he has what's the word? Inheritable, innate access to that plane. He's totally dependent on higher mercy. So he's begging, let me be the lowest thing. You know, and he really feels like that. Whereas we look at the pastimes of Krishna and think, oh yeah, I'd like to be a cowherd boy. That'd be fun. I think like that sometimes. And yeah, Prabhupada is there. But you know, it has not. That's the beginning. You know, you get a little taste, you get a sample, and you get the taste for it, and you like it, and then you want to get more. But when you want to get more, you have to pay for it. You know, that's the reality. So we get a taste for our spiritual existence. We get a feeling of the reality of that, and then we come to a point where, you know, we have to begin to really move into a realm of deep self-sacrifice, where the ego is taken down, deconstructed, taken apart, the false ego, and the real spiritual self is awakened. That's the plane of spiritual existence. And depending on our progress, we take different births, but always, it's described in Bhagavad Gita, whatever you do in spiritual life, you'll never lose it. It's like a bank account that you'll always have. Whereas this world, no matter how many cars or houses or big bank accounts or everything, it's all gone. It's all going to be gone. But you engage in some sacrifice, you know, going towards an ideal to give yourself fully. That's like a value, like in and of itself, and that value is never lost. Krishna describes in the Gita. So we take birth in different levels of existence until finally we break through. Maybe it's possible to do it in this life, but generally it seems not. Like right now I'm thinking, I hope I'll be born in a family of devotees, so I don't have to go through 20 years of, you know, not knowing who I am and eating dead animals and, you know, doing all kinds of weird stuff, trying to figure out who I am. That was really terrible. It was very difficult. And yeah.
Like family of devotees in the West, no?
Huh?
Family of devotees in the West.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You like it? The devotee comforts.
Right. Yeah. So this is our background. You know, we were all desperate. It was the late '60s. So many things were happening, but the basic thrust was a search for that reality, that change of consciousness, which can give us freedom and connection with everybody in a loving way. You know, I took it that it was like a physical thing, and I tried and it just didn't work. But a spiritual connection, that's the reality. Like if you know your spirit and you know the position of your spirit, you see others as spirit. So it doesn't matter if the guy's, you know, low in terms of social position or high. Doesn't matter, woman's body or man's body. The reality is the spiritual thing. So it really doesn't matter what you have to do in this world to fulfill the necessities of your nature. The important thing is how much you sacrifice, you know, internally. How much you begin the real work of, you know, delving into your own consciousness and awakening your real self. Okay. So beyond the Viraja river, the highest plane within the spiritual Paravyoma Dham is Sri Goloka Vrindavan. Vrindavana Chintamani Chidananda Ratna Kani, Chinmaya Apurva Darshana, the Gitavali Radhastakam. The land of Vrindavan is made of wish-fulfilling gems. It is a mine of joyful spiritual gems. The spiritual abode of Vrindavan is thus an extraordinary sight. So, you know, contained in these mostly Sanskrit, some Bengali verses and descriptions, contained within them is the power or the energy that there's a spiritual transmission that's going on. You know, scholars look at this and you know, are astounded at the depth of the grammar in Sanskrit. And you know, I was told when I went for my master's degree at, you know, one of these top universities that, you know, all the people who are going to be linguists, they have to study Sanskrit first. That's almost always the case. So I was in this class with all these like brilliant language people, and there was, you know, but when the teacher said, Hamza means goose, I said, wait a minute, it's a swan. Everybody knows that. You know, Lufthansa, the swan, the air swan. It's even in German. She said, no, there are only gooses in India, geese in India. They're not swans. I said, come on, it's metaphors. What it means is something that's beautiful and sweet and high. No, it's a goose. So they want to, you know, just demean the idea of spiritual transmission contained within the language. They don't know, and they want to just reject that idea. But you know, I've seen in so many different ways they're constantly confronted with the real possibility that that's why the language is there. There's something hidden behind the structure of the language. Okay. What is that abode like? Those of you who have read Brahma Samhita know this verse, which describes the abode therein. Shintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha lakshavritesu surabhi abhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shata sambrahman sevyamanam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. This is Lord Brahma, the creator of this particular universe, has given a Samhita, of which we've been able to recover only the fifth book of that lengthy Samhita. Do you know how much? It's said 100? So we have one. And that's the sloka that I just said. It's beautiful, unbelievably powerful. And the translation is, that abode is beautified by homes made of spiritual gems, millions of wish-fulfilling trees, and herds of cows. It's called the Kalpa Vriksha tree. And you can get anything from it. And why can you get anything? Because all you want to do is give and serve. So, because you have no selfish personal motivation, everything is available. You get anything you want. You know, wouldn't you love to be in that kind of, everybody's like working hard to get that kind of position externally, and it just never quite works. But in the spiritual realm, that kind of, you know, inclination or desire that we have, that can be fulfilled. There's a reason why we have these desires, and there's a reason why we don't find complete fulfillment in them. Because this is the material world. Everything's temporary. And we want something more than that. All these opulences eagerly wait to serve and fulfill the desires of their Lord. The original Lord, Govinda, who is filled with inconceivable qualities, resides in this abode beyond Paravyoma Dham. Okay.
I've always found Guru Dev's description, or his account of the wish thing, very deep. It's like, in this world, gee, there's an apple tree, you can only get an apple. But in that world, the wish fulfilling trees, you can get a pair or...
Yeah.
So you might want to ask for something.
Right. It depends. It just, totally depends on your necessity for service.
Yeah.
And, everything comes. I mean, what kind of cool place is that? I mean, we're taking acid or mushrooms and trying to find something that's beyond all this. And it's there. That's why we're looking, because it is there. But to find it is a very, it's a very subtle and fine project. You can't break in with using external elements. You can't break through. You can perceive maybe different levels of what this world is, but you can't break into spiritual life with any kind of material substance. You have to begin to sacrifice internally, and then you'll begin to experience, wow, I guess I'm really like a soul, like it says, and I'm really not going to die. It's just, what a hassle, 9 months in a womb. I guess that's my punishment for not being, fully surrendered or something. But can you imagine, stuck there? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I mean, phew. Anyway, one time I was, after a car accident, I was unconscious. And I remember what it was like. You realize that you exist, and it's like a big white haze in front of you. And you exist, but you don't know where you are. You kind of know who you are, but you don't know what's happening. That was in a coma. And so, I have some notion of what, something like that could be like. And, I'm not particularly looking forward to it, but it's my karma, and I've done things that have led me to be in this situation. So, Krishna gives me experiences that are going to help me to learn my lesson. Like the mother slaps the child's hand when the child's going to put his or her hand in a fire by the stove. So Krishna does that to us. And time passes in, inconceivable ways. We can't even understand how that works. But the existence of all the universes is described is one breath of the original Vishnu. He breathes out, the universes exist, there's billions of years, so many changes, everything, and then he breathes in, and they're all finished, and they're in a what is it? Static conditions, static state. Anyway, so we think, oh, it's so long, but it's not. We're just in illusion. And if we wake up, we're out of it. So that's why we're human beings. That's why we have a chance to, to begin to experience our real self, to awaken. Okay. There's a long sloka from Brahma Samhita, which I'm not going to read. 5, number 56. I worship Goloka Vrindavan, where goddesses are the lovers. The Supreme Lord is the beloved. The trees are wish-fulfilling. The land is made of wish-fulfilling gems. The water is nectar. Speech is song. Movement is dance. The flute is Krishna's dear friend. The light is spiritual, joyful, and thus supremely relishable. A vast ocean of milk flows from the cows, and even half a moment does not pass. The time is eternally present. Only a few reclusive sadhus know of this abode. Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambraman Sevyaman. Radharani fulfills Krishna's desires in all respects in thousands and thousands of forms. So Srimati Radharani, the ultimate female, the ultimate personification of loving, giving service. No self-motivated object. Just giving. That's Srimati Radharani. She's the ultimate origin of all that feeling that we have. You know, there is something beyond all this. There is a reason why we feel like we feel. It's not just all a bunch of chemicals that have combined and we just kind of, you know, feel, you know, random things because of chemicals. It's just really a bad explanation. You know, a much more reasonable explanation is that there's something behind all this. There's something that's organized this, and we've come into it somehow or other. And now, is there a way that we can, you know, return to our real place, to the place where this Srimati Radharani is engaged in loving activities with Sri Krishna? Can we learn how to just be a servant and go there? So only a few reclusive sadhus know of this land. We see that she appeared in this world during Krishna's pastimes in Gokula. The only difference between Goloka and Gokula is that Gokula appears in this world while the Lord's eternal pastimes go on in Goloka. So sometimes the transcendental realm manifests in the material world. It becomes visible. It's like, you know, there's an intersection between the spiritual and the material. And temporarily, in certain places, the spiritual becomes like visible. And, you know, it's written, it says it's like that. And in fact, we, you know, have some experience of that because, you know, the presence of someone who's free, who's realized, you know, makes the place like feel all the different aspects of engagement within the temporary plane to free ourselves from the bondage of the wheel of samsara, the cycle of karma and birth and death and all these things. It's possible, and it's all there, given to us by the higher arrangement of that supreme, you know, beauty. Think of all the. I mean, it's actually listed, and I didn't have time to get it, but all the qualities, the beautiful qualities that are there in the female energy. Think of that. It's just, you know, right. It's there, coming from Srimati Radharani. You know, why do we love that so much? Because that's reality. It comes from Srimati Radharani, and it's not the temporary, you know, physical object that we see. And everybody kind of knows that. Everybody, you know, most people can kind of sense that and feel it. Love is a very subtle thing, but it touches very deeply. And that's because it's really connected with reality. Okay. So Goloka and Gokula. Gokula is in this world. Goloka is the transcendental world. The same pastimes manifest in two forms. We desire to become particles of dust in that land where the cause of all causes, who is the origin of all but has no origin, Govinda, is accompanied by his servants and served in all five rasas. Rasa means taste or feeling. Everybody wants rasa. Everyone wants, you know, a taste, the experience of ecstasy, of happiness, of fulfillment, of realization of, you know, the nature of why you're here. Sat Chit Ananda, eternity, beyond time. Chit, you know who you are, you feel it. And Ananda, you're in ecstasy, you feel ecstasy. You know, beyond the temporary ecstasy of this world, which is only there to give us a glance of reality. It's just poof, it's there and then it's gone. And do you keep seeking it in the temporary, or do you begin to realize that there's something from which this is coming, and I can approach that? You know, it's possible, and this is what's being described in the existence of Srimati Radharani, and how that, you know, existence has become kind of visible in this world. We desire to become particles of dust in that land where the cause of all causes, who is the origin of all, but has no origin. Govinda is accompanied by his servants and served in all five rasas. So yeah, I was going to say rasa. There's the neutral. I think the cows and the land and the trees, everything is included in that. They're all alive. Then there's the position of service, dasya, where you serve Krishna in different ways, or Krishna's servants in different ways. Then there's sakya, where you're a friend. You know, you're like young, and you're playing with Krishna. Like, you know, as you can all remember, as a young boy or a young girl, you're just, you know, free. You can do all kinds of things. Why? Because you're being protected all the time by your parents. You know, kids are the closest thing, the closest representation of what reality is. That's why everybody's so attracted to kids, and they're so beautiful and so naturally kind of free. You know, yeah. Kids are you know, we can see in children what reality is, and it's attractive to be in a position where you're always taken care of, you're always protected. You don't have any bhaya, which is, you know, clearly described. Bhaya comes from the uncertainty of material existence. You're afraid all the time. Why? Because whatever you have may be taken away, you know, within the temporary world, or you may hoard it and have it your whole life, and then you have to leave. So everybody's, you know, on one way or other, there's this bhaya. But the transcendental world is abhaya, without any fear, because we're with Krishna. Okay, his servants,
Friendship, and then there you go.
Oh yeah, friendship, and then there's vatsalya, which is being a parent, like, you know, taking care of your children, and having that kind of loving exchange. That's, you know, higher than friendship. And then at the deepest level is madhurya, which is the loving exchange between lover and beloved. You know, that's like the natural instinct of all of us. And why is that? Why would the chemicals produce something like that in everybody? You know, it's because it's linked with reality. And we have a position in that reality that can, you know, completely fulfill us, which, you know, just can't be found in this temporary world. And it's described. We see people who talk about it. I mean, only a few, but we've seen a few who talk about it and feel it. And, you know, there's like so many books that describe this and the possibility of this. And, you know, either you look at it and say, well, it's all imagination. They've all, you know, kind of imagined this because they can't cope with death or something. Or you say, wow, this is possible. I should check this out. You know, and see what, you know, what's possibly there. What if there is like an exit? You know, if you're in a theater that's burning or something, and you're looking what to do, and suddenly you see the light exit. You know, you run for it. So something like that, we get description of, you know, not only just the fact that there's an exit, but the fact that there's a consciousness which that's there, which will free us. You know, where we'll live beyond the, you know, withdrawal, the idea of withdrawal from the temporary world. We'll actually go to a place that is transcendent and is filled with every kind of experience that we've ever had in this plane. You know, the funnest stuff you've ever done. You know, the most pleasurable stuff you've ever done. You know, imagine all this stuff. And that's just a glimpse, because it all ended, right? So do you keep looking? You keep trying to do stuff? Or do you start to think, wait a minute, maybe this is all temporary, maybe there's something more. And you try to look. And when you begin to look, you know, the priority becomes that looking, that seeking. And the temporary, like, connection with the material plane, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, a person may be in a particular position, doing different things. that, you know, the Christians might say are sinful or something like that, but we don't even care. As long as they want to, you know, come in contact with the spiritual plane. Because it's just a dream. And if somebody's caught up in a bad dream, or somebody's floating away in a good dream, we still want to try and, you know, give them the chance to know there's a way to wake up. You know, we've like begun to hear like the alarm clock. Wake up from your material sleep and experience the reality of spiritual life. And not only that, you can start to feel it now. You've been feeling so many things for so long. Now you can start to, like, you know, actually approach the reality of that, you know, that ultimate experience you've had in so many ways, the source of that experience. Okay. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sole worshipable deity is identified. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our deity here, and he is the Yuga avatar who's come down in this age and to give us, you know, avatar means one who descends. Everybody knows kind of avatar. But it's in the ancient scriptures, and it's described. There's so many different avatars, and they have different purposes to, you know, straighten things out in this plane, or to give an opportunity to, you know, to exit this temporary world. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. For this particular age, the Dharma, that means the way in which you can develop, awaken your soul, the Dharma is the Mahamantra. And it's, you know, all you have to do is just chant the Mahamantra, and once you get going, it will just compound and naturally happen, because we're naturally a soul. It's not, we don't have to, like, you know, pull away, no, I'm not going to do that because it's bad or something. We don't have to think like that. We just have to think, I'm going to serve. I'm going to, you know, try to find the real thing. And if I'm still, you know, distracted by temporary things, who cares? You know, it's just like, it's a temporary world. But we don't want to get too caught up in that stuff, because to the point where we're neglecting our spiritual experiences and our spiritual journey. But like I'm saying, it happens in a natural way. You begin to feel naturally, and naturally kind of leave behind temporary things and naturally progress forward. So sometimes leaving something that you're, you know, attached to temporarily, you know, it's described we're all walking around with a bag of rocks, and it's kind of gotten, you know, comfortable. But when someone tells us you can actually get rid of those, then, you know, we think, well, I've had these for a long time. I don't know. But, you know, you can actually do it. Okay. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the flawless Purana, the highest authority, Radharani is the best of the wives of Braja, yet Shukadev Goswami, with great difficulty, did not mention Radharani in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is kind of esoteric type stuff about, you know, the nature of the presentation of the higher reality, and how it's done in a gradual way, so that people will be able to gradually progress. This is like lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. The Vedas are designed like that, where people can go up and eventually in the upper planes begin to experience spiritual life. But we're fortunate that we're born on this particular plane, because, you know, 2 avatars have come within the last like 5,000 years to give the experience of the transcendental world. And we're here where, you know, it's not so good, where we're completely caught up in, you know, how great everything is. Like you can see in this world, there's some people who are just like set up, and they can get whatever they want somehow or other. And then there are people who are like born with deformities and are just, you know, can't get out of poverty. And, you know, what's with that? What, you know, why is that? Can anybody explain that? Yeah. The Vedic scriptures can explain it. It's, everybody's got a particular burden based on their own karmic activities. It's, you know, it's hard to swallow, because we're naturally compassionate. You know, so we try to have compassion on people, but have compassion in such a way so that rather than trying to, you know, help them turn their bad dream into a good dream, we try to help them, like, wake up to the real existence. Okay. Srimad Mahaprabhu, who descended, said that Srimad Bhagavatam, whoa, it's really late, huh? The flawless Purana is the highest authority, and Radharani is the best of the wives of Braja. Yet Shukadev Goswami, with great difficulty, did not mention Radharani in Srimad Bhagavatam. Why not? His character is not like that of someone who sells goods in the market. Many great sages were present in the assembly of Shukadev Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit. This was an assembly that happened like 5,000 years ago of great sages come together to try to understand the purpose of life. But you know, what's happening? Why is all these things happening to us? Why do we have to die? That's like real science. Our gurus tell us that's the, you know, the real thing to find out. Which they all say, well, you just can't know that. So we get into understanding why the grass is green and the sky is blue, and spend our lives, you know, studying some aspect of what's temporary, when there's a whole other realm that you know, we can access, and it's possible. Okay. But he began with a set of prayers, and within them is this verse, and I won't say the Sanskrit, but I surrender to the lotus feet of the fountain of Madhura Rasa, Sri Radha. Though their name is not found within the narrative of the glorious nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Radha's lotus feet are present within every word of it and are the basis of the pastimes of the embodiment of all ecstasies, Sham. So like in this world we've had so many different relations. As kids we have friends we're playing with, now we have friends. We were kids, we had parents, we had loving relations with them. As we get older, we begin to have relations with the beloved, the loved, and the beloved. We have different exchanges. Every aspect of what's going on here has its reality there in the transcendental world. So whatever we like here, it's not as though we have to leave it. We can get it at the best, at the pinnacle of experience in the transcendental world. That's what they're saying. And when you begin to feel like there's something there, it's like, wow, it really may be possible. So you try to go forward. Okay. That is to say, she has been spoken of everywhere. Okay, we already read that. Then another Sanskrit verse. In this verse, we find mention of Radharani. After she left the rasa dance out of jealous anger and went into the forest, Krishna also broke away from his play with the gopis and went after her. So the highest plane of existence has to do with those personalities who like risked everything to engage in loving exchange with Krishna. They risked their family life, they risked their status in the village, everything. They don't care because they want to be with Krishna. And that is the manifestation of the highest aspect of reality and ecstasy. You know, if you get into like reciprocal experience on this plane, you know, really the greatest thing is when you are just completely giving. It just is. That's how. I mean, maybe I believe that's the, you know, the highest thing that we can experience in this world on all planes. You know, from physical contact to just you know, meditation. That's, you know, that's the greatest experience that we can have. So here Radharani's name is not stated, But from other Puranas and scriptures, we can understand that she is Radharani. Radharani's name is not stated in the Bhagavatam, given the circumstance in which it's spoken. Why? Even Shukadeva Goswami honors Radharani's position from a distance. Okay, this is rather esoteric. Let's see if we can.
Maharaj, the time is...
No heck. This is just so fun.
We can continue in this evening.
Yeah, I'll probably be blown out and exhausted by then. But anyway, I'll try. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, you know.
I think Lalita Madhava.
No, I was just going to say, why don't you conclude from...
Oh yeah, conclude, yeah. Well, it's hard, we're kind of leaving everything hanging. But there's descriptions of the transcendental realm, the position of, you know, the female aspect of God. You know, isn't it like perfect? You know, you wonder, God, why is he just a male? Why is there just a male in charge? And in reality, there's both. I mean, it's just like it feels right, and it is right. And what is our position? We serve that one who is the greatest servant. And we have an opportunity to begin to enter into that just by like washing the dishes after we have lunch. Or, you know, sweeping the floor. In a meditation that I'm doing this for, you know, for Krishna, for something higher. And suddenly it's like, bam, it's a different kind of experience. You begin to like feel, wow, there's something substantial in this. And then the practice of Bhakti Yoga develops. It just appears before you. And then as you progress, poof, a master like appears. You know you're intended to be with him or her. And then you begin to follow. And gradually more and more is revealed, and you know the possibilities. Like, you know, at the end of this life, which was, I'm 69, who knows, I may live for 20 more years or 25 years, but maybe not. I'm in a Venus period, and when I'm oh, so that's why I say, okay. Anyway, so I'm in a Venus period, and then when I'm 2025, 26, I hit a Mars and then a Rahu. And Mars for me is bad because I'm the type that, like, you know, takes risks, you know, risk stuff to accomplish things. And so I have accidents because Mars is badly aspected. So there's a possibility that I'll have an accident or something will happen and I'll have to leave this body. And that's possible for like a period of 4 years. If I get through that, then I have a Saturn period, which is actually good for renunciation, of 19 years. Yeah. So my original astrology, though, is already finished. It ended in 3 years. I'm supposed to be dead. But I'm not, you know. So sometimes astrology works like that. You can't really clearly tell what's going to happen. And why is that? It's clearly there's patterns. You know, there's no question about that. But why does, you know, it seems like the patterns kind of change sometimes. You know, why would that be? Unless there's some, you know, some controller that's beyond it all. Anyway, so I'm just saying, I'm facing the possibility of leaving. So I'm, you know, trying to come to terms with that. Trying to think about, you know, where I'm going to be, what I'm going to do. Reading stuff about our gurus, talking about, you know, what happens when you die, you float above and you look down and see your body. And then you're stuck for a few days. And luckily they burn the body so you don't have to hang around anymore. And then, you know, and then eventually you find the way, or subtle beings come and take you to your next body. But as someone who tried to engage in spiritual life, you have some kind of choice of where you're going to go. I don't know how it works exactly, but that's what my first guru told us. so we had to, like, before we would have sex to have a child, we would like meditate for 8 hours, chanting Hare Krishna for 8 hours. They call it 64 rounds, and like focusing fully on spiritual life so that we could attract like a soul interested in spiritual life. And, you know, sure enough, it happened. And, you know, there's just too many things that happen in connection with, you know, this possible reality to, like, you know, deny it anymore. There's just, you know, too many things are happening. So, you know, anyway, how many years? 6, 7 years. So I have to get serious. And how to get serious and, you know, continue on, that's, you know, that's the question, and that's the problem. So I'm praying a lot. And our Guru says, if you don't know what to do where you are, understand you're placed in that position by the arrangement of the Supreme. You have to just be in that position and wait and see, and something will change. You'll know what to do. Krishna will reveal it. And, you know, I've been around in this Krishna consciousness for 49 years, and I've seen it so many times. You're not sure what to do. You pray, you pray, you pray, and suddenly it just becomes obvious. You know, why does stuff like that happen? You know, it's because there's really, you know, something there. There's really, you know, a personality. There's really love. There's really beauty, truth. What are those things? Nobody can define them. Why? Because it's connected with infinite reality. Anyway, I'll just finish by saying that there is a way, and there's a yoga system which has 9 levels, and the final level is the spiritual level. That's Bhakti yoga, and that's what we practice. And Bhakti yoga doesn't have to do with, you know, hatha yoga positions or any kind of like mystical developments or you know, raising the kundalini or something like that. We're not really interested in that kind of process. We're interested in the process of awakening the soul. And that's the whole design of bhakti, is to begin to practice being a servant in the context of serving like a guru who's the representative of Krishna. And when you start to do that, you start to feel like, oh, this is really real. You know, I'm supposed to be a servant, and this is working. And so Bhakti Yoga is a whole, like, you know, life arrangement. And it doesn't matter if you're working in a job or if you're in saffron as a monk or something. It doesn't really matter. The real thing is what you're doing within. You know, that's the reality, and that's what Bhakti Yoga brings you in contact with. And it happens, like I said, in a very you know, natural way. It's not, you know, the development in some ways, because to lose the false self is painful, but in another way, it's amazingly happy because you're getting free. So even pain is, you know, kind of cool, which is surprising, but it's like that. And, you know, I can't really say that I'm there, but I appreciate that and, you know, realize that something else is going on. There's a plane of existence where I've, like, violated someone's free will, someone's, you know, proper existence. And as a result of that violation, I'm getting like pains in my legs and all these different things. But it's all going on in the dream. And that's not really real. There's something else that's there. So I'm trying to concentrate on that and, you know, get myself ready for the next life, because that's what it's finally all about. You know, we're all going, so you might as well make preparation. You know, if there's really something there. So first you have to accept the possibility, realize that this place is, you know, basically sucks, and and then just decide, you know, oh, these guys are saying there's something else. Well, let me check it out. That's, you know, that's what we're saying. So thank you very much for spending the time. And we'll have Arti now, which is our offering. And basically arti it's kind of looks like a ritual, but it has to do with the whole principle of giving. We all chant for the deity. We want to give ourselves. The pujari who's offering flowers, lamps, so many things, as an expression of the desire to become a giving unit and not a taking unit. Okay. Jai. Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shri A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. That was my guru. Jai. No, I got a little